The Latino body count is high in Rambo Last Blood. Sylvester Stallone returns as Rambo in Rambo Last Blood, starring Adriana Barraza and Yvette Monreal. John Rambo is somewhat domesticated in Rambo Last Blood. No, he did not marry and have children, which probably wouldn't have made sense for a character like Rambo, who suffers from PTSD and the effects are still evident in this movie. Instead, he lives with a housekeeper who's played by Adriana Barraza, a Mexican actress. I believe she was nominated for an Oscar for Babel. And her granddaughter, Gabrielle, played by Yvette Monreal. And he's sort of a surrogate father to her, and it's kind of sweet to see him interact with her because he's very soft with her, and he's basically the dad she never had because her dad left when her mom was dying, so he's a piece of work. So John Rambo stepped in, and he's every bit the father. She's about to go to college. He doesn't want her to go away. So he's trying to not convince her, but giving her little hints like, hey, you'd be great at horseback riding, because he has horses on the ranch. So that's kind of a sweet little moment. Of course, all this comes before the violence. When Gabrielle decides to take a trip to Mexico, after being told not to, she's sold into a sex trafficking ring. Now it's really personal, and John Rambo is about to sum people up, but not before he gets a whooping himself. When he gets the bad hombres back to his underground lair / caves, body parts start flying. Liam Neeson called. He wants his plot back. It's right out of Taken. There's someone, a daughter, surrogate daughter, who is taken by some sex traffickers, and he goes after them. Except, here we have some probably politically incorrect dialogue and the way he handles things. There are some moments where you're like, what the F? Why is he so anti-Mexico? When we're in Arizona and Gabrielle's talking to him about going to Mexico, he pretty much calls Mexico a hole. And then in a later scene, somebody says, why don't you call the Mexican police to help? And he says, they don't do shit. So we're left wondering, why in the heck is this guy crapping all over Mexico? This script is so lazy. It feels like it was written decades ago. The villains are one-dimensional. Of course, it's the bad hombres again, bad hombres, said properly. The screenplay was written by Sylvester Stallone and the co-writer Matthew Cyrilnik. And they didn't do anything original in this story. It felt like a recycling of a bunch of other action movies. And it was directed by Adrian Grunberg. He also directed Get the Gringo. And ironically, that's another film with some bad hombres. It's with Mel Gibson. Actually, it's a fun movie. It has a lot of stereotypes of Mexico, but yet they set it up in this fictional, like, underground / prison community. So it was interesting, but it was stereotypical. But at least it was enjoyable to watch. This one wasn't. You obviously go to Rambo movies for the violence, but this one got very, very gory. We've got heads exploding and other body parts being cut off. It was very, very graphic. And I can't recall how graphic the other ones were, but this one was pretty graphic. At the press conference, they asked him about that, and he said he wanted to show what gun violence does to an actual body, not the Hollywood violence where he says you see people getting shot and get up and continue their action moves. But he wanted to show that war is not pretty, and that's what we get for sure in this movie. So if you're expecting that, you're going to get lots of gore for the price.